From the studios of ITN, The News, with John Suchet.
Good evening. Police investigating the mystery disappearance of two children off the Norfolk coast were called to a remote shoreline today when a child's body was discovered on a beach. It's believed to be the missing girl, Jodie Loughlin, who was 6. There was no sign of her brother, Tom. A post-mortem is being carried out and the children's parents have been told. The body was found on a Norfolk beach at a remote spot called Weybourne, 30 miles east of the picnic area at Gore Point in Home, where the youngsters went missing 12 days ago. Here's Eric McInnes.
The young girl's body was found by a jogger this morning on a remote beach. This spot is 20 miles further up the coast from where the two children went missing, and it is almost certain that the sea has given up the dead body of Jodie Loughlin. Police know of no other missing children here, and after 12 days of looking for Jodie, who is 6, and Tom, who is 4, they believe their initial suspicions that the children were swept out to sea may be correct. The children's parents, who last week spoke about their optimism of finding them alive, have been told that the body was taken away for identification. Pathologists will be studying Jodie's dental records to see if they can match them. And the local Coast Guard says if it is Jodie, it would make sense that her body was washed up here.
With the undercurrents, they always the tides run this way, and I just happen to think that was where they'd be found, either here or Blakeney Point.
If the body that's been discovered does turn out to be that of Jodie Loughlin, then it may indicate that young Tom Loughlin, her brother, has suffered a similar fate, that he was washed out to sea. But of course, until his body is found, there can be no certainty for the police or especially the parents. Eric McInnes, ITN, on the Norfolk coast.
Next on the early evening news, on doctor's orders, Frank Bruno gives up the ring. French farmers take their protest to Paris's most famous landmark. And Alan Shearer gets the top job, captain of England. A doctor did what no boxer had ever done today, brought a tear to the eye of Frank Bruno. Britain's best-loved boxing star was warned he could go blind if he took another punch. So, reluctantly, he announced his retirement from the ring. Adrian Britton went to see him.
Frank Bruno said he shed a tear when he realised his boxing career was over.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming. I'm just here to say that I'm officially retired, and any questions...
Words his fans thought they'd never hear him say. They adopted him as the nation's best-loved sportsman. But after being warned by his consultant that he could lose his sight, he said he had no choice but to quit.
I've been going to him for advice on my eyes, you know what I mean? And if he says something to you, you've got to try and take a little bit. He didn't have to twist my arm and put a gun to my head or anything like that, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
After 3 failed attempts, this one in 1986, Bruno realised his greatest dream last September when he was crowned the world heavyweight champion. But in March, and in less than 3 rounds, Mike Tyson put an end to his attempt to become the undisputed champion of the world. That was to be his last fight. How much longer did you want to continue fighting, Frank?
I don't really know. The fact of the matter is I cannot continue fighting, so that's where the buck stops. Mate, where are you from?
ITN.
ITN. Love the suit.
Later, he told me of the difficulty in telling his family that he would never fight again.
It was difficult in a way, but, you know what I mean, it was life in a way. I had to tell them, and they took it pretty well, you know, to be quite honest. Much more better than I took it, Mr. Adrian.
But as you say, you know, boxing was your life. I mean, what did it mean to somebody like you to be told, sorry, Frank, no more boxing?
If you'd have told me that about 3 years ago, 5 years ago, you know, I mean, it would be much more harder to accept than now, you know. I've had a good innings. I've done pretty well for myself, you know. First one in 100 years to win the heavyweight championship of the world. And unfortunately, with the Mike Tyson thing, I wasn't too happy with that. But that's the way the cookie goes. But I've done well for myself. So I've made a lot of people happy, made a lot of people sad. And I'm pretty happy. And I can walk and keep my head up, hopefully.
And what about Frank Bruno in the future? What's he going to do?
God only knows. Now, the man above will tell me what to do. God bless, no one curse. You know, I'll just be happy and just duck and dive and just be a father, you know. I've got some kids to bring up, so I want to be a father to them and just enjoy myself. As I say in America, enjoy.
The future will be out of the ring, but as a possible promoter or even manager, it's difficult to imagine boxing and Bruno will be apart for long. Adrian Britton, ITN, Essex.
A short time ago, Professor David MacLeod, the doctor who told Frank Bruno to stop boxing, spoke exclusively to ITN.
all along I've suggested he should perhaps call it a day. On this occasion I felt it was important to lay it on the line and to tell him in no uncertain terms that there was a cumulative risk of eye damage, and I really couldn't see any point in his continuing to take those risks. And after 16 years, I'm very happy to say that he's taken my advice at this point and decided to call it a day.
Bill Clinton set out his stall for another term as president today, ignoring the latest sex scandal that scarred his campaign. He didn't mention it in his keynote speech. He did say he was the man to lead America into the next century. Bill Neely reports from Chicago.
His hair is grey now, his face lined by 4 years in office. But this Bill Clinton has the confidence he never had before, leading a contented country and leading in the polls. This speech a chance to make his case for a second term in office. His party, though, wanted to applaud his first. This convention has focused on family. Mr. Clinton highlighted his own.
Chicago's daughter, Hillary.
Beside Hillary Clinton, the former boxing champion Muhammad Ali. The flags were white, but no surrender here from Mr. Clinton to the sex scandal that sank his top advisor. Dick Morris, who created Mr. Clinton's political comeback, who crafted this convention of family values, was back with his own family. He just resigned amid allegations that he let his prostitute eavesdrop on his conversations with Mr. Clinton. The president never mentioned him.
We are on the right track to the 21st century.
He pitched for the Irish vote.
The deep desire for peace that Hillary and I felt when we walked the streets of Belfast and Derry must become real for all the people of Northern Ireland.
Arguing all along to the viewers and voters for more time.
I'm showing up for work tomorrow. I'm building that bridge to the 21st century. That ought to be the...
The applause was thunderous. Bill Clinton's convention ending in a blizzard of balloons and glitter and in the warmth of family. The scandal of his fallen advisor peeking dimly through the euphoria.
His triumph may have been tarnished by scandal, but the voters say they like him, warts and all, and they will vote for him. America's election, victory or defeat, now rests in the hands of one man, this man, Bill Clinton. Bill Neely, ITN, Chicago.
French farmers demonstrated their anger at the mad cow crisis today by herding their cattle to the Eiffel Tower. It followed a 19-day march across France to highlight falling beef prices. Here it's been confirmed that a fourth British farmer has died of the human equivalent of BSE. Lawrence McGinty reports.
Invaders in the shape of a herd of cattle came to the heart of Paris today, the spearhead of a march of French farmers protesting against the drop in beef prices because of BSE. The political pressure from Europe is still on Britain to curb the epidemic, and the temperature rose again this morning with a new piece of research. Scientists in Edinburgh have confirmed a fourth case in farmers of CJD, the human equivalent of BSE. But they say all 4 cases are of ordinary CJD, not the new strain they suspect is related to BSE.
None of these patients had the new form of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease that we've recently identified in the United Kingdom, the form which we feel possibly may be related to BSE. And the pattern of their illness was very much in keeping with the normal form of CJD.
But farmers may well feel 4 cases of CJD is too many to be a coincidence. And today's research is bound to add to the political crisis. Lawrence McGinty, ITN.
The Labour leader Tony Blair stepped into the postal workers' dispute today and appeared to distance his party from the union. He urged them to make sure they had the support of all their members for strike action. The government also turned up the heat. Here's our political editor, Michael Brunson.
Although the Royal Mail claimed that more post got through today than ever before, though the union disagreed, another postal strike isn't exactly helpful to the Labour Party. So while Tony Blair has not condemned it outright, he does want to be certain that the union is conducting it properly.
Well, I'm sure that they will consider the position carefully, and if there is industrial action that's going to be continued, I've got no view at all, that leads me to suppose that they won't understand that it's important to make sure that they have the consent of their membership.
The Liberal Democrats went further.
I think there is evidence clearly that the executive is not acting in accordance with the wishes of the union members.
The Trade and Industry Secretary said again that he'll suspend the post office monopoly for a further 3 months if the strikes go on, and he hinted at further new measures.
We've made so much progress in recent years with industrial relations as a result of the step-by-step approach that we've taken. It may be that now is the time for a further step. We're looking at options.
That probably means Ian Lang's looking again at the idea of compulsory cooling off periods and arbitration in strikes in monopoly public services like the post office. But it's a legal minefield, and previous attempts by the Tories to do something about it have come to nothing. Michael Brunson, ITN, Westminster.
A row broke out today after a convicted paedophile escaped while on a visit to Chessington World of Adventures Park at a time when it was packed with children. The man, Trevor Holland, fled from his escort before going inside, but a big search was carried out. Chessington World of Adventures attacked health workers who arranged the visit. They said they weren't told about it and they did not want to be part of any criminal rehabilitation scheme. Northern Ireland's new Chief Constable Ronnie Flanagan warned today the province couldn't withstand another summer like this one. He said the RUC's reputation had been damaged by its policing of the marching season, which comes to an end tomorrow. Here's our Ireland correspondent, John Irvine.
The best-known officer in the RUC, Ronnie Flanagan, will be its youngest ever Chief Constable. Aged 47, his rise through the ranks has been rapid. An excellent communicator and media performer, he is taking over at a difficult time. The violence of the summer has created huge problems for the RUC. Nationalist confidence was battered by the police U-turn at Drumcree in July.
Particularly with the nationalist community, there has undoubtedly been great damage done. Already I am encouraged that there are signs that we're able to rebuild bridges that were formerly damaged, but it can't be understated. Serious damage has been done.
Last night there was another blow to community relations. This fire at the headquarters of the Royal Black Institution was probably started deliberately. The institution organises some of the marches that have been so controversial. More are scheduled for tomorrow. John Irvine, ITN, Belfast.
The world's most expensive footballer became his country's most important today. Alan Shearer said he was delighted at being named England captain. He'll lead the team against Moldova on Sunday in their World Cup qualifier. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland are all in action too. Peter Staunton reports.
A new captain starting a new era for English football. Glenn Hoddle chose Alan Shearer after meeting him for the first time this week. He knows how to conduct himself, according to the new coach. He'll also be leading from the front as usual, trying to continue the goal-scoring run which threatened to take England to the final of Euro 96, before Venables' team lost its way against Germany and went out by the most painful route. From now on, England need instant results. Shearer the man to provide them.
The main thing for me is he's got total respect from the players, everyone in football, you guys, even fans, even in Europe now.
To represent your country is one thing, but to captain is another. And certainly I've won things in my career, but this certainly is amongst the best of them.
For Scotland's assault on Austria in Vienna, the return of a striker who refuses to grow old, who's looking forward to reaching the finals of a fourth major tournament when he'll be 36.
It's important that we do get a good start in this campaign because, I mean, everybody wants to play in the World Cup finals, which are obviously the biggest stage, footballing stage in the world, and we're no different. It's going to be a difficult campaign for us.
For Wales, an easy start to the campaign, a return match in Cardiff against San Marino, a team they beat easily, away from home in June. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport.
On News at 10 with Trevor MacDonald, the identification of the girl's body washed up on a Norfolk beach. Plus, has the success of Euro 96 brought the feel-good factor back to British football? And the main news is that the body of a young girl has been found on a Norfolk beach. Police believe it's Jodie Loughlin, who went missing with her brother 12 days ago. And Frank Bruno has retired from boxing on doctor's advice. That's Friday's early evening news until 5:40 on Monday. Bye-bye.
Hello, good evening. Well, eastern parts of Britain had a much better day today after yesterday's gales and rain, and most of us will have quite a decent weekend. A lot of dry weather, some sunshine too, but weak weather fronts are going to bring rather cloudy conditions and patchy rain at times to the northwest, particularly during Sunday. But you can see on the satellite picture that we still have that swirl of cloud out to the east there, that deep area of low pressure that produced yesterday's gales and rain. It's gradually moving away now to the east, and further to the west, where our weather is coming from, you can see much more broken clouds, so some sunshine, but various weather systems lurking out to the west that will bring more cloudy conditions to the north and west through the weekend. But for the rest of Britain, the main feature of the chart is the high pressure, which will keep most of us dry. Quite a bit of sunshine, especially in the south and west. Let's look at tonight, though, in more detail. And most of Britain will become dry through the evening and night. We've had light showers around today, many of them dying away, temperatures down to around 7 or 8. But in the far northwest of Britain, we'll see those weather fronts bringing thicker cloud at times and outbreaks of rain, mostly for the north of Scotland. Then on to tomorrow, where many places starting off quite sunny, I think you'll find. An odd shower here and there, perhaps up in northwestern parts of England there. As we go through the day, these generally clear skies will soon fill in with some cloud, still fairly bright, but sunny spells rather than sunny skies. And up to the northwest, after a grey and damp start, things are a little brighter. An odd shower in the northeast of England, though. Temperatures there probably around 18. A top temperature tomorrow of around 20, and that's 68. And then for Sunday, most of England and Wales will be dry and quite bright, but the far northwest, as you see again, rather cloudy with patchy rain, mostly in the northwest. Here's a summary.
Sponsored by Powergen, producing electricity, whatever the weather.